Hello, everyone, again. This is our last session. So I will ask you, those of you who are willing to do that, that we try to envision our future in the best way. So please close your eyes, sit comfortable in your chair, and try to imagine that you are sitting on that beautiful beach where Samia was sitting all our training. Remember the beautiful colors, the sea and sand and forest, and just feel the sun and that warm sand, and try to listen to the ocean, the slow waves which are coming. One, two, three, four, five. Let's try in this relaxed and beautiful mood to imagine peace between all religions in the world. How that look like to you? Can you see some pictures in your head? Can you imagine some symbols or concrete stories or some political agreements or whatever come to your mind is okay. Just try to collect everything what symbolize peace between religions for you. We will be like 1 or 30 seconds in silence just to try to have those pictures in our head. And now let's think, where are you? Where are you in that short video in your game? What is your role? What did you do to contribute to that piece? What you can do? Let's try slowly to open your eyes and to go back to group, and let's try to think, what can I do for the peace between religion? I will ask you, and first maybe in the beginning, Brian, to start this small conversation at the end with his wishes for this week, because mostly of this what happened are coming from his head. So did he envision, did he see that peace during this week? How did he pass through it? And what does he think about future? Then I will ask some of you who are willing to share also some of your pictures and some of your roles in building peace in between religions. Thank you. Brian.
Thank you, Amra. What did I envision for this week? I think I had hoped that in some way we could have a similar spirit as to what we had last year in person, which felt impossible with Zoom and just an online connection. And so last year, what Amra and Orhan and I had tried to create for this group experience was something where it's kind of similar, where we dove into a lot of the challenges a lot of the challenges in different cities in Bosnia as we traveled a little bit and heard different challenging stories. And so it's kind of like this journey through pain and difference and division. And then we met with some similar folks as we had a chance to meet with this year with some of these peace builders to kind of all of a sudden bring the experience back around. So I hope for you, for those that really made it through that I feel like that's kind of a picture of the peace building journey, of this real journey through lots of pain. Come here, Ella. And the pain of undoing. Do we need a diaper? You want to see here? Say hi. The pain of really understanding ourselves and understanding. There we go. Of understanding ourselves and understanding the stories on the other side that oftentimes, in order to start to get into them, it's painful because we see truths about ourselves, we see truths about our group that we don't want to see. And so I really commend everyone for sticking in there to really do that work. And I think for some people, that work is something that they've already been working at for a long time. For other people, it's, and I think for probably all of us, it's something we're still trying to learn how to do better. But then on this other side, then we start to see this real beauty and joy in people like Ivo and Radivoje and Mevludin that have done this work. And all of a sudden, it's like Paula Green had said, that they really embody something incredible, that they're the most courageous people that you'll ever meet. So I feel like that's a real picture of what I've seen in y'all this week, in your ability to kind of go there and to engage and to ask the hard questions and to self-reflect and self-examine. And it felt worth it. Like it felt similar as much as an online experience can be, to that sort of in-person experience where we did that work and then we kind of got to this other side to really consider what does it look like to live a life that does this, that has kind of learned how to kind of take on this kind of pain and then live in a way that can hold these narratives in tension, that can really learn to see through the eyes of another, that can learn to empathize with those who have done even our group harm or us individually harm. And that's a journey, just like the journey of forgiveness that we talked about and so many other things. So I think in terms of what we envisioned for this, for an online experience, I've been really pleased and excited, and I've been really impressed with everyone here. And I hope that that for everyone, that there's little nuggets, I know there are for me, little nuggets that were like, that's something that I need to think about more. That's something that I want to learn more. Or this is some sort of step that I need to take in order to try to live out this journey. And so I think like that's what Amra has already kind of discussed, kind of like, well, where do we go from here? I think for me, with so many of these experiences, and even like my wife, Stephanie, is much more involved in like monitoring evaluation and those sorts of things. So many times for projects to really be impactful, it requires people to have this concrete step that they're envisioning, that they're taking. So kind of that future that we imagine that Amra talked about, and then where we're at now, what is that step, that next step that we need to take to move in that direction? And that we would feel a sense of urgency about that. And like Ivo had said today, if we don't actually put what we're thinking about and learning into practice, then this goes away. And then it's like, oh, well, that was an interesting online experience, or even if it's in person, that was an interesting in-person experience. But if we don't actually say, what's that next step that I want to take now? Then too quickly we lose that learning or that potential learning or that potential moment of transformation.
So what is that for you?
So for me personally, I've had for a long time, and this is kind of something that's come up with a few different people during these calls, this, we can't exclude anyone from those that we're relating to. And I think for the longest time, and I think this is the right, I'm a foreigner in Bosnia, so there's all kinds of different dynamics at play. I've been really hesitant to get to know certain, especially institutional folks. And just pre-COVID up until now, I've had a lot more, like it's kind of been starting to, I've had a more sense of urgency, like this is the next step that I need to take. And I've been reaching out to the SNSD office. For those that know Bosnian politics, the SNSD political party is basically the conservative, more nationalistic Serb political party. And I have some mutual friends with people that work there. And so basically to build relationships there, I have a lot of mutual friends at the Islamic faculty. But I haven't really reached in to actually get to know these individual people on a personal level, as some locals have encouraged me to do. They're like, no, it's time. You've done the work. You need to meet these different people, like faculty members there and people in this political party. So I think for me, it's like, we can't exclude them. It's complicated. John Paul Lederach had always stuck out to me because I didn't like it at first, but it makes more and more sense. He's kind of like, how do we navigate who we include, sort of, or what conversations we get into? And sometimes working with warlords, other times refusing to work with US military people. And, kind of like, who do you work with and what is that, like, kind of how do you make those decisions? So I think for me, that's kind of the next step here for me in Sarajevo and Bosnia, is kind of starting to think more institutionally. It's something that Martin Brooks always inspires me with, his ability to reach out to the mayor, to reach out to the police chief. And it's something for me that these are normal folks that are very human. I think that's something that also stood out to me from our time together. Ivo and Radivoy and Adnan and all the folks that were here, people are humans. And so how do I take that step to reach out to them, that we can include some of these larger institutions and groups of people in a way that's productive for these conversations?
Thank you. Okay, other voices, or some pictures, or some future actions, or some thinking about this week, whatever.
I was not part of the conference the whole time in person because I found out about it late and I didn't have time to organize my schedule. But I was praying for you. And so my picture, my comment is a person praying, a person on their knees, either holding their hands like this or holding their hands like this, and praying to God, because I ultimately think that what we're doing is a spiritual activity that goes beyond human beings. And I feel there are angels looking down upon us and smiling. And there's a lot more happening that we don't see. And so I firmly believe in the power of prayer and the necessity of prayer to be part of this whole journey that we're on. So that's my image.
Amen. I know I'm smiling. I hope angels too.
They're there, Amra. If we see them or not, they're definitely there.
Good. Thank you very much, Dayan. Thank you so much.
I also had a picture while we closed our eyes and meditate for a moment. For me, one verse from Bible came, and also a picture, how there is a table and the table is filled with a lot of good food, and we are all around the table, every nation, every tribe, no matter the skin color, no matter the race, no matter the nation, no matter the gender, we are all together at the same table, and we share something that is really important, and that's food. Something that is so common for all of us, in common for all of us. And I see this picture of people giving bread to one another, passing salt to one another, and just being in partnership, feeding one another, instead of keeping food away from them. So that's something I saw, and I really hope that this is the future that we live in.
Thank you very much, Mirela. I will not ask you for the next future steps, because we will give you after this a lot of job to do, because you were so excellent. So don't think about next steps. We will tell you what to do. I'm kidding. And I'm so thankful that you was part of our team this year, and it was enormous strength, really. And now, as a facilitator, I allow you to go in kitchen and eat if you are hungry after your beautiful picture in your head. Martin, would you like to say a word? I didn't hear your voice all this week.
Well, thank you. I have been so encouraged by all of the presentations, thinking about just the complexity of the situation, but the desire of people in these meetings to work together and get beyond the conflict, to slow down and genuinely hear one another and hear the nuance instead of just the loud voices that try to divide us, to try to listen to to under the surface, and what's being said. I've appreciated the breakout rooms where we've been able to ask clarifying questions, and the transparency of the people that have participated, sharing. It takes courage to look at our own roles in these conflicts and to evaluate how we have been thinking and perceiving each other. So this has been a beautiful time where that you have arranged for us, where we've been able to come and listen and learn, and then to draw the parallels to the U.S. And our own context. I've mentioned this call many times just this week as news stories would come up, and I would say, "Oh, that's similar to what happened in Bosnia and Yugoslavia," and we learn we're better for having been together now. So thank you so much for sharing and allowing me to participate in this.
Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you. I think also that we are better after this. And I didn't have a time actually to share with Brian. Even this morning, I was called by Radio Bir. It's the radio of Islamic community of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I was asked about this program, and I spoke, I think, for 10 minutes of this wonderful experience. And I can assure you that the people in Bosnia and Herzegovina will hear about that, and that I try to spread some of this light, what I pick up with you here, and I think it was successful. Orhan, you had a lot of questions how they could do these killings, how they could do these killings. And I really so much liked when you were getting us back in reality out, I mean, from our idealistic religious clouds where you all like to spend time. How was the week for you? Do you have some ideas about some concrete steps in the future?
You know that I have some folks here, and we have our own weekly sessions. We come together, read some Islamic books, but very few of us from from that group, or several of them groups here in Bosnia, have chance to engage in dialogue just like this one, and I see this as a huge, huge privilege. And it's not just those groups. In general, Brian, he knows how work we hard to find our Serb citizens, co-citizens here, to get them engaged in this kind of program. But somehow we're failing, and it's not up to Serbs, it's up to us, Brian. We have to dig harder. And thank you for this privilege, for this opportunity. You know that, Amra, that I have some problems with understanding institutions, and what Eva told today just struck me even more. He said that institutions are inevitable, and that's something I just cannot accept. No. Because institutions makes us, Martin, Brooke, Mirela, whoever, different, but which we are not. I also heard tonight that someone could teach us how to deal with, how should I deal with Christians? Brian, who taught me how I should deal with you? I don't know. And I'm dealing just fine, as far as I know. Also unacceptable. And as for pictures, I have that picture of the lady, journalist, supposedly Black African lady. That's how Paula Green told us, who interviewed the bad guy who was taking part in some bad things that happened somewhere in Africa. And she interviewed him, and once he was executed, as far as I understood, he was sentenced to death. She published a book with the title, Today, a human being just passed away. And I shared this with Mirel, Amra, and Brian. Now let's project that in our Bosnian reality. So I'm a journalist. I'm making an interview with a convicted war crime officer who is serving his lifetime sentence somewhere. I don't know. And that man dies, and I publish a book about. So I don't know. It's just, for me, it's too much. I don't know. So I'm a peace builder in saying, in rhetorics, but when she brought that example, I just Orhan, you have so much more huge road is in front of you, and but it's possible. That lady showed us it's possible, and Jesus taught us it's possible, and Muhammad taught us it's possible. All their lives was forgiving, but I don't know. But just going through this kind of activities, talking to you guys, we can make steps forward, and to make us real peace builder. As far as I understood tonight, I'm fake one, but I have intention. I will struggle. I will endeavor to be a peace builder, just that a lady journalist was, and to be ready to suffer after that in terms of my community. That would be the consequence of making interview and digging to the essential of human, because the question to Paula Green was how to deal people who are glorifying war criminals. She says, down there, in the essence of that particular human being, there's a human. There is a part of healthy tissue, and our mission, as far as understood, is to dig. Thank you all for this amazing thing. Yeah.
This was amazing, Orhan. Thank you very much. I love peace building because we didn't do any teaching, and obviously some of you learned so much, and that's really, really such a gift. You know, when I see how people are getting peace building values in their life, it's the biggest gift in the work I do, and I'm really thankful to God for you, Orhan, and everything what you realize during this week. Rayland, I'm watching you all this week in front of that door, and I'm imagining all the time your parents, the migrants, you know, like whole army of these people behind that, and you are being alone there. And I'm just thinking, like, I would like just to go once and hug him over there in front of that white door. Thank you so much for your contribution, and tell me, was it anything helpful to your broken heart from the beginning?
Thanks, Amra. Yeah, no, this has been incredible for me, watching and learning and listening to you guys who have so much more history and experience than I do. You know, I feel like if you guys are, we like eagles in the U.S. So if you guys are like, I see you guys as like your eagles soaring, and I feel like I'm just a little bird, like taking off, trying to fly. But so with that, like, you know, I feel really uprooted from where I came from. And I was just talking to a friend last night and sharing about, especially like yesterday, whenever he was talking about how, you know, he wasn't quite ready to go back and talk to the guy who ordered the killing of his friends and neighbors. And my particular friend I talked to last night, he grew up in the Amazonian jungles of Venezuela, and he watched and had friends and kids he grew up with, so his closest friends growing up, tribal conflicts and killing and beheading and scalping, and so like, and in that, there's, you know, I've never had somebody like attack me. Yes, there's been gunshots on my street corner right outside my house, but the guns weren't pointed at me. They weren't searching for me. They weren't out to kill me or my family. And so like, I feel like there's a depth that you guys have experienced of emotions that I don't even have, like, I don't have experience with. I don't understand. And so to be able to see everybody's talking this week in your guys' history, to still want to do peace work and build bridges, when I feel like you guys have experienced so much more than I have, it's been incredible. And then how that affects me here, like, I'm a part of a group that meets Wednesday mornings, and it's people from outside of my community mostly, and they're, in this case, mostly white conservative Christians from rural Maine versus in town. And so, like, sometimes I get frustrated and like, what am I doing in this group? But like, all sides are so important. Like, I need to be in contact and continue relationship with them as well as much as I need to be in contact with my neighbors from the Congo, my neighbors from Somalia, my neighbors from just from Maine, and people that look different me and disagree with me, because empathy is the other big thing that I've seen this week. Genuine love and care, empathy towards other people is really, I think, absolutely foundational to any of this, and to see anybody changed. Because everybody's looking for acceptance, for identity, for love, and that's what fighting, that's what war is the opposite of. So if I'm going to build a better world, a better community, I have to love other people. And how do I do that?
Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. I'm really thankful that my brother Adnan was with us this week, and that he shared some of his really special experience, and more than that, special way how he deal with that. And I was so happy when Paula said to him and to Samia that they are wounded doctors. How did she say it? Healers? That was really something.
Wounded healers.
Wounded healers. Yes. I think we yes, I think that a lot of us find ourselves in that. So Adnan, would you like to share something?
Yeah, wounded. What's the other word? How she said that in English? Wounded?
Wounded healer.
Healer, yeah. It sounds good. Yeah, I forget that. Yeah, I heard it when she said, but I forget. Thank you anyway, guys. You invite me to be with you. It was pretty much hard and good experience. I surprised on, let's say, how much people here in group. Most of are commit, and these strong discussions, questions, and everything is on one very, for me, good level, in the sense that I was stimulated and motivated to think and talk, and to be part of this group, let's say. And I am before I sit with you to talk with Amra and Brian about idea about this project or training, I was very motivated to talk with the people in especially in USA, because I was also worried about the situation over there the last couple of years, months, let's say. Okay, I just remembered, and I watched before election in US that I watched these analyses that they predicting the winner of Biden in 70% or something like 40, and I was said that these guys have no idea, that it's people who are mostly here, I mean, according to my experience, who are voting for this sometimes nationalist, or I don't know, maybe even a racistic or that kind of politician or party, or they are not talking about that, especially on anketas on phone, or I don't know, emails. It's something much serious, deeply somewhere inside of people who are and what I discovered through my peace building all these years, that people voting for this kind of politics, let's say, because of some fears and confusions, and sometimes maybe manipulation, but it's not in the first sense on the manipulation, because they are already have some pictures about that, this simple picture of the world, let's say black and white, or I don't know, plus minus, positive, negative guys, good, bad guys, and so on. It's not, I think it's world much more complexity in that, and nationalism and other isms are simplification of reality, and it's much easier to live with you are righteous groups, savior groups who are going to heaven, others are in fire, or I don't know. Yeah, I was motivated to be part of this group also because of in this spiritual context, and I think it's very important for me that believers, Christians, Muslims, or others, Jewish people, become more active in peace building, because my general impression, worldview, it's that it's not so often, and it depends of the area, but of course it's and unfortunately that a lot of my experience is that people who are deeply involved in religion, that they are also politically sometimes have habits to voting for these simplification pictures of the world, and that's mean that I think that I'm happy that in this group we are openly talk about all this issue and to learning about all that, and to encourage us in our faith systems to do something. Like Amra asked about first steps or visions, it's for me hard to say about visions, but I always have this strong motivation to go in direction of the reconciliation in a spiritual sense. How that's going, when was that right Christian theological, when through mercy and peace and I forget, going together and create reconciliation.
John Paul Lederach.
Yeah, that's right.
Peace and justice, kiss, truth and mercy.
Yes. Going together, yeah, and make. Yes. For me, that's the guidelines all my life, or through my peace working motivation, let's say, something inside me. And it's very important that I am always find answers even outside spirituality, among people who are not part of just my group, but are opposite, are atheist or agnostic or some, all these multicultural aspect. And I'm very happy because this when I spoke with Brian, what we can offer to US activists about our Bosnia or Balkan experience is that we have multicultural society as well, which have it deeply in trouble with that multicultural context, because I have often said to my participants on our trainings that multicultural is beautiful but then hard at the same time. It's never look like flowers around different seasons, everything is fine. It's not like that. For me, a real multicultural society is with a lot of conflict also about these differences and different concepts or everything. And always through that conflicts or this mixing of all these energies in society, we're looking for these common things, to common visions, common aspects, how we can deal with that. And I also think that US is one of these countries which have a temptation on that multicultural concept. Everywhere in the world, more or less, now it's like that. Yeah. Yeah, I just want to add, the concept is wonderful. These guests who are you choose also. Drago and Srđan and Mevludin and Paula and Radivoje, Ivo. I remember them today when I listened to Ivo. He is one of the pioneers, like you heard, of the peace building, and Amr and me all have contact with him almost from 90s. And he was all the time some kind of symbol of, especially that multicultural concept, and especially multi-religious. And he's not just because he's Franciscan bishop, how to say, and that he's also really transparent in his own mistakes or different thinkings, or sometimes he don't have answers. And I like him very much all these years. We cooperate a lot of time, and he is the symbol of this multicultural, and that's important issue what he also talked today. It's
Thank you, Amr, but we have just 10 minutes more, so I will have to stop you. I'm sorry,
yeah,
because I would like to hear some other voices. I will not. Yeah, it's super. Thank you.
No.
I will not say any more names, because I don't think that we have time that everybody speaks. So please, who would like to share something more?
I'll share quickly. I have two kind of takeaways. One is an inward one is an outward one. First, I realized from people's stories that I have some work to do around forgiveness. And so like moving like steps towards that's my inward work. And there's a podcast that forgiveness podcast, Brian, that's like the thing that I want to listen to. I don't know if you shared that with the group or not. And then my outward one is, it's been really helpful to have like a general sense of the narratives, the 3 narratives in Bosnia, as different speakers have been talking, to be able to like have the narrative kind of behind them, quote unquote, as they're sharing their story. So thinking about the US, I want to get a clear sense of like the narrative of the person I'm talking with, and how that overlaps with the other narrative or narratives, to be able to listen. And it just helps me listen more clearly. So that's and specifically with Trump supporters. So to give you, and I'm feeling like, honestly, kind of, it's like weighty for me. So I'll put in the chat, I'm not going to read it just because of time, but an evangelical former mentor commented on President Trump's attorney's news conference last night, or 2 nights ago, on the election. And it's just, her narrative is so different than mine. So I'll put it so that you all can see, but just, it's like the tensions are real. I'm feeling it. So thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. For the several seconds we saw Yusuf. Oh, he's again here. Oh, thank brother. It's good we see you a little bit. Do you want to say a few words? You are muted. You are muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I would like to say Assalamu alaikum and peace to everyone who's on the call, whether they could stay the whole time or just experienced a little bit of this amazing story of our brothers and sisters in Bosnia and Serbia, that we, as the African American, we can relate and really appreciate the struggles that you're going through when your villages and towns were attacked. People had to hide in basements and other people's homes, in the woods and in the forest and things like that. We here in America, we had Black towns destroyed. If you see Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and where the people's houses were destroyed and people were chased out and killed on sight. Also in Rosewood, Florida, the same thing. The whole Black town is destroyed. People had to hide in bushes and in the weeds, and if people found them, they would execute them. So we have a connection with the experience of our Bosnian brothers and sisters, but not just that. The connection across bridging the peace between Black and white in this country couldn't have been done. The peace couldn't have been done without the people who were seen as the perpetrators. For example, Martin Luther King had to work with people who were white to advance peace. And that's what I do on a daily here. As a matter of fact, the reason why I'm talking so fast is because I'm trying to hurry to the airport. I'm trying to catch a flight to the East Coast, but sorry for the hurried speech. But we appreciate, we love and support our Bosnian brothers and sisters, and we thank our Serbian Christian brothers and sisters who also participated in this peace building, because the struggle is universal. Whether it's Bosnia, whether it's here with our borders with Mexico, with our brown brothers and sisters, whether it's in Africa or India, Asia, no matter where, this struggle is universal. So we thank you for educating us, and it'll be an experience to share with our Black brothers and sisters here.
Thank you so much, Yusuf. And good
Amra,
luck
can
on
I jump
your
in?
flight.
Can I jump in quick, Amra?
Just very quickly.
So last year, some of the most impactful time, I think, and I mean, Mirella, I think, shared this, Ernada did, was we had 2 minority participants last year from the United States. And the depth of connection and parallel experiences was deeply, deeply impactful for both communities. In some ways, a lot of the more people like myself felt like we were kind of looking on from a very different type of position. So I think I just completely want to affirm what Yusuf was saying. There's so many parallels where there's a connection that people feel. And so thank you for that, Yusuf, and just want to affirm 100%
Thank
what
you,
you're
Brian.
saying.
Can we hear some more voices? What about Brooke? What about Beth? What about my sisters over there, my support always, Ernada and Hanan?
Hello, I couldn't participate tonight, all night, because I was in my job, but I want to say that I'm very happy because all of you, and I try to imagine how these foreigners feel when they are hearing our stories. I think that that wasn't easy, but this show us efforts for peace and trying to understand everybody, every story. And how can I say, behind all these stories are human beings with their with humans challenges. And God blessing for everybody. If she wants something, she can.
Actually, I just want to thank Amra as well as Brian and Mirala as a support, technical and translation and everything, and as well as everyone too, and our guest speaker. It was amazing with Evo. Actually, it was a open-hearted path to peacemaker here. I was enjoyed, and yeah, I love you all and hope to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Montenegro. 5-5 for Montenegro.
Yes, Montenegro. You
it was
always
great participation.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Love
Thank you.
Alles gut.
Anything else?
I see Samia is about to say something.
I didn't.
Beth and Hannah's about to say something. Lynn's about to say something. There's like so many things that are almost being said.
Yeah, it's just hard to think out what to actually say. There's just so much in my heart. But definitely a big thank you to everyone. Yeah, I think for me, what was most impactful was, just like I didn't know pretty much anything about Bosnia and what happened in the war there before I got on this journey. And so I've learned so much, and got to know at least a little bit like some of you, and you're already in my heart, and I love you. And yeah, I do intend to keep in touch, and let's see, I hope we can continue to learn from each other and help each other and love each other even more. And but one of the images that when we were doing the meditation that I saw was actually of myself with my family watching different Indian programs where, you know, we're like learning about Hindu mythology and religion and Sikh and Jain, and you know, like this is something that we like to do in my family. And that was one of the images that just popped into my mind. And it's always given me a lot of joy, and not just joy, but it's like made me the person that I am, to be learning about and learning from people of other faiths and other cultures and other traditions. It has really enriched my life and made me a better person. And so I really appreciated being able to now learn also from you. Yeah, and that's just such an important value for me. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this.
Nice. Thank you so much. Brian, you are following on your, as you are host, you see some other people. And Samia, thank you so much. You share your some very private and hard experience when we were talking with Paul. I think that was for everybody, just kind of touch their heart, and we everybody pray for you. And I think that that's really things which connect people is when somebody share like that. You brought that sincerity in the circle, and thank you so much for that.
I could share a couple things. I've just very much appreciated this group and how vulnerable people were in sharing your stories of what you experienced during the wartime. It's helped me to process a little bit what my own father went through during World War II in Germany, as his family had to flee from Prussia to try to get to Berlin. And he was a 12-year-old boy, and he had 10 brothers and sisters, and his he had witnessed his father being beaten and murdered. Sister was raped. They faced starvation. It was a year-long journey for them to try to get back to their relatives. And so he saw many things that he never talked about his whole life, until a little bit during his last 6 months of life. And it was really hard for him to talk about that. So we really didn't hear much, but hearing your stories and some of what you experienced as maybe a 10 or 12-year-old child really helped me to understand a little bit more of what he had experienced during a war. So I appreciate that, and thank you for how open you were in talking about that. And my other thoughts and how this has helped me is my husband and I are in a group through our church of a dozen people. We meet weekly to talk about scriptures, and we've been doing a Bible study during the same time on peace building based on the videos, clips of Martin Luther King Jr. And those have been very impactful for us at the same time as hearing what you're going through in your country. And there are people in our group who are on both, on both sides of the political views and have very strong views, but we're working really hard to accept each other, respect their opinions of each other, not be, just remain calm in how we discuss it, and just look at each other with dignity and respect, no matter what their views are, because each person is a valued human being in God's eyes, no matter what their beliefs are. There's good and bad beliefs on both political parties, and we're just trying to link arms and just very much respect each other. So I've just so much appreciated how you're all trying to link arms as peace builders in your country, and I know how difficult it is, but you're really doing the hard work, and I appreciate seeing that. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much. We have here greetings from Ellen. She said, I have to go. Thank you so much. Best wishes. Everyone, I'm grateful for the recording so that I can catch what I missed. Thanks for all the work you put into this program. Do we have anybody else who want to speak? Okay, if not, Brian, are you able to produce prayer in 1 minute, but 1 minute, 2 maximum?
A prayer.
A prayer. You know how you always pray when you and me are together. And you know, this is your special praying, but we don't have a lot of time because it's 3:09. I don't want to take too much time for the people, but I really want them to experience Bosnian spirit in a sense that everybody know who we believe, but it doesn't matter. We pray together and we are humans together. So Brian,
absolutely. It's one of the special things that Amra and I oftentimes share is whenever one of us is going through something really difficult, we've prayed together and cried together. And so right now, God, we thank you for your presence with each of us here as a group and as we go. Thank you that you are all around us, that you're closer than our skin. Whenever we have all these different things that we're feeling, whether it's fears, confusion, inspiration, anything, that we could take moments to pause, to recall memories like during this time together now, memories from before COVID, of time together with those that we love, of those that we've connected with across barriers, to see how you're working always beyond what we can see in those that we might least expect. Help us remember these things and just feel your presence around us, within us, everywhere. That we could feel your power and your strength and your joy, your peace, that it would motivate us to go out from here as individuals and as a community, staying in touch with one another so that we might take steps to really work for the common good, the good of your reign, of your peace, of your justice. Amen.
Amin. Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah. Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you to
Hallelujah.
everyone.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. I kiss you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Blessings. Stay in touch. We'll follow up.